Hey, what's going on? It's Matt Plapp, and I am back with episode number 3 of I Know Matt Plapp, and I'm with Markell Blount. Markell, who do you know?
I know Matt Plapp.
So here we are, and we're here at the Smokehouse Brewery in Columbus, Ohio. Markell's from Boston. You know I'm from down by the Cincinnati area. When he told me he was going to be in Columbus, I had to scoot north and have a conversation with him because it's ironic the conversation we're going to have, how it relates to a video I did this week. And I'm going to tell you a quick story that we're going to get into what Markell knows and let him drop some knowledge on you. And as a reminder, why is this show called I Know Matt Plapp? It's not because I have a huge ego, which I probably do, my wife might tell you. It's because the people that I know a lot. And if you're introduced to the people that I know, you're going to hear some great nuggets of information to help you grow your business, restaurant and brewery like we're in, and hopefully make a lot more money. So this past week is interesting. I've got a fundraiser I do every Thanksgiving, and Friday I'm at like $3,100, and we try to raise around $10,000. So my dad calls me on Friday. He's like, "Where you at?" I'm like, "Man, I'm struggling, bro. I'm at like $3,100." Like, "You'll be all right. So make some calls, do your thing." So Sunday morning I wake up, I've got about $4,200. Still like, man, I'm a ways from 10 grand. I got a week till we go to buy these meals for these families that depend on me and my network. And so I hit it hard Sunday. About 100 messages, Facebook messages, some text messages, and some emails. Long story short, 4 hours later, I'm at $8,500. Yesterday, another grand or two. Today, another grand. I think we're above 10 or 11 grand probably, somewhere in the neighborhood now, 3 days later. But I did a video, and I talked about how your network is your net worth, because the only reason I'm able to do that is because of awesome people like Markell that I know, that I've cultivated relationships with, that I've known for years, that know, like, and trust me. And so that's what I want to talk about with Markell about today is that's what you are. You're a connector. You know people. You help people know people. What is it that a lot of people miss with regards to relationships like I have with people that they don't have, that don't allow them to raise money like that or make connections?
Sure. I think at the end of the day, what people do is they just go out and start asking for help from everybody, right? And I think when we go out and want to go out and do great things, go do big things regarding building our connections, build our relationships. I think at the end of the day, what we want to be able to do is add value, and to add value, you have to have the mindset to sort of give before you get. And so, as you've been cultivating these relationships for years, and it's what it takes, right? So I speak to a lot of college kids, and when they're coming out of college, they're thinking, hey, what am I going to do? Who am I going to call? Who's going to give me a job? And I said, while you're in school, how are you connecting and adding value to other people? How are you going out and finding somebody, hey, let me take you to coffee. I'm really interested in public relations. I'm really interested in marketing. Give me the scoop on what it means. I'll buy you coffee. I just want to pick your brain on what happens. People who are successful want to help, right? I mean, they're willing to help you, but you can't just go into it with what's for me, right? You can't just be a taker. You have to be somebody willing to add value, willing to give, willing to make those connections. And when you spend over time a career doing it, it's almost like, again, when you really need your team, when you really need your tribe, when you really need the folks that, to come through for you, well, they look, hey, Matt, Matt's been doing this for years. Matt's been adding value. Matt's been helping us out. Hey, we're looking to do a little bit of, marketing over here. Who do we call? Well, it's Matt. Help us out. So I think, that's where a lot of business owners miss the boat, is that they're looking at, hey, what's in it for me? I've just got to drive revenue. And we understand that, revenue pays the bills, right? Keeps the lights on. But, you've got to have a mindset that's going to take longer. I'm here to add value. And there's tons of ways to do it. Again, you can do things like, 5-minute favor. I read that in a book called Give and Take by Adam Grant. It's a great book. One of the folks talked about, there it is. One of the folks talked about, spending 5 minutes of providing, just some sort of value to anybody in your network. We're literally just picking up, a LinkedIn and going through and saying, let me just do a nice introduction for this person. I know that, and I've done this, right? I know that Matt Plapp is really good at Facebook marketing and social media campaigns. And so let me just blast out to my network. Let me make an introduction to Matt because he's really good at this. He focuses on restaurant and breweries. That's an exciting thing. I know he's doing it. I don't need to do it. It's not something I'm good at. And I know who to go and trust. And so to me, that adds value. And that way, down the line, I may need something. I don't know what it is. It's not a give and take. It's not like, I expect something from Matt, in this case. But I do know that at some point, if I do need something and I'm blasting out to my network, I've spent a lot of time adding value. And a lot of it is just making that connection, the right people in the room, pinging them. Another great book I was just posting about it earlier today, Never Eat Alone, by Keith Ferrazzi. He talks about pinging people when you're sitting in the airport, when you're sitting at the doctor's office. Just how do you stay in touch? Value. You're not asking for anything. You're just pushing it out there like, hey, what's going on? How's everything going? I appreciate you. And it just goes a long way with you solidifying and building those relationships long term.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I think where a lot of people fail is that the only time they reach out to you is when they're when they need something.
Oh,
and
I
made a career out of that, the opposite out on accident. My dad early on, probably a lot of what I look at now as accident was on purpose. I was around my father, who was a very successful entrepreneur. His entire career, it still is to this day. And if you watched episode 1, you saw. And he instilled a lot of things in me that helped me make better decisions. But I'll never forget it, because my years in radio advertising, my years in marketing, I was always going to people, consultative. It was never, hey, I've got something to sell. It was, hey, what are you looking for? What are you doing? And do I have something that you could use? Because a lot of businesses are hit up every day. And even consumers. I tell my friends, I've got friends of mine that are on social media, and they're selling something. They're an MLM, or they're selling a weight loss. And that's fine. I wish them all the success, but they're doing it wrong, because every time they talk, like I've got one friend in particular recently, never seen on social media ever. All of a sudden, every day for a month, boom, 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 boom. It's me. And you said something earlier that really brought back a story that made me dive deeper, the giver's gain. I've been in BNI for 10 years. I'll never forget my first 6 months in BNI. My buddy Brendan Scalen's the owner of the franchise in Cincinnati, and he's an unbelievable networker. He'll be a guest on the show eventually, probably the next couple of weeks. And he came to me after about a month. Excuse me, my nose keeps running, allergies. But he came about 6 months into my BNI membership, and he's like, "Hey Matt, are you ready to do this right now?" That's what do you mean? He goes, "Have you got anything out of BNI yet?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." He goes, "It's because you suck at it." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Every meeting you show up, you're on your phone the whole meeting. You don't prepare your 60. You don't do one-to-ones afterwards. You're coming in asking for business, but you've not made an effort to help anybody." And so he sat down with me, and he actually sat with my dad, because my dad and him were working on a training product, and they launched it soon after that, and I went through the program. And one thing I learned when I came back to my chapter, I said, "Hey, guys, the next 6 months, nobody's allowed to give me anything. All I'm doing is giving you guys. I'm going to learn to give back more, because I come here right now with my hand out, and I need to come here dropping stuff in your lap."
That's right.
So, I mean, what are some things you see that businesses, business owners, or entrepreneurs can do to build their network and make it stronger?
Sure. I mean, I think that, at the end of the day, you can host local events. You can go to, different networking events, but, at the same time, again, where are you going to add value? Are you going to just hand business cards? Because you've got to get out of the mindset of, just sales, right? I mean, and it's hard. Like, I've got a sales background. You have a sales background. And, I've worked for many companies, and it's hard because you're like, "Oh, I want to go network. And they're like, well, you got to go close a deal. You got to pay the bills. And you will. But I think at the same time, you've got to work and make sure that, you're meeting the right people. You're taking a very strategic approach, to building that network, to build those relationships. You're going to sell, you're going to get there, you're going to ask for referrals, you're going to do those things. But can you go into every situation with the mindset of, here's how we add value? So you pick up the phone and you want to call, the CFO of XYZ company and sell him something. Well, guess what? He's got 150 phone calls per day.
Just like you.
150 per day. Easy, right? Of everybody just wanting to sell. But instead, if you thought about something like, do your homework, do your research, find out if he's got, he or she is involved in any sort of nonprofits, donate to the nonprofit, create a video and say, hey, we want to endorse this nonprofit, and shoot that to them. Do something to add value before you're going out reaching and saying, hey, we want to sell you this product, And you just see it time and time again. And again, I get it. There's a lot of pressure on people. There's go out and close and go out and do this. But you've got to hold off. You've got to be strong and think that it's for the long term. That's going to be more important than just a quick sale here and there, or catching somebody on the right day. That's great. But think of how powerful it is when you have a network of high-profile people that you added value to, that you spent time and time again working with and helping. And then again, when you need something one day, you need to show up and you want to interview, a high-level person, they're not gonna bat an eye to helping you, because that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
That's just a natural sort of reciprocity.
You brought up something I thought was pretty cool. Maybe you can take this because you were talking about one of your ideas. I heard from a guy, it's been 3 or 4 years ago. He reached out to me on LinkedIn. We had some common interests, and he did it right. He sent me a message. Hey, Matt, you know this person, I know this person. Let's connect, and maybe we can figure out some ways to do business in the future, connect each other with people of interest.
Yeah.
Well, about 2 or 3 months into it, he invited me to his 50 LinkedIn friends. I'm like, what is this? He's like, I have 50 LinkedIn friends now. So I'm inviting all 50 to a happy hour at this restaurant and bar on me. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty cool idea. And then so went to it, got to know him. Well, he started doing that every 50. So when he got to 100 friends or connections on LinkedIn, he did the 100 and then the 150 and the 200. And I haven't kept up. I don't know if he's still doing that, but it was pretty cool because last time I talked to him, and remember, he was like 300. Yeah. And it was the LinkedIn 300 party. And it gained some traction where people were like, oh, it's the 300 party. Well, what is that? Well, I don't know. But it was when he had 300 connections. Party. Well, that was his way, because he said, hey, I was an introvert. And I didn't know a lot of people, but I knew a couple people that knew some people, and I wanted to find this way. And it built pretty well. So I know you're working on some stuff that you've got an idea. What's your idea you want to do as far as you mentioned in Boston and different places of creating some networks and some masterminds of people that are high level?
Yeah, I think that I've been spending a lot of time thinking about how do I want to put together the right people in the room. I didn't want just a regular networking group. There's plenty of those, dime a dozen. So for me, it's just trying to figure out getting very similar. How do you get 10? Just start off with 10, but 10 really cool, really good, really hardworking people that can add value to each other, because when you get the right people in the room, that's where magic happens, right? So everyone's starts networking groups. They want to scale it to as many people as they can, other than maybe BNI again, where they have some specific rules. But in this case, it's just, look, let's get 5, let's get 10 people, do a cool venue, get to a Red Sox game, get to maybe a Bruins game. Patriots might be a little bit hard down in Foxborough, but
come to Cincinnati, you can get famous all day long.
But I think that's kind of the key moving forward. And I'm going to be launching a podcast, so that podcast is going to be called Power Broker Live. It's all about the relationships, the ability to connect, interviewing some cool people, influential people that will share their story and what the things that they do to create that value, to create ultimately that power, and be able to connect the dots and make friends.
So as we get ready to leave this, because they're going to probably kick us out of here soon, they're wanting to close the brewery up. One tip: if you had to give a young Markell Blount at age 22 or 23 out of college, hey, this is the thing you can do the next 10 years to build a network that has a net worth, what would it be?
Yeah, there's so many things you can do. I think the one big thing to me is literally spend 5 minutes or less per day reaching out to somebody in your network and doing something nice, saying something nice, make somebody's day once per day, 5 minutes or less, 100%, be consistent. And I think in 5 years and 10 years, you're just going to have a ton of people that are raving fans.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because I can tell you, as an entrepreneur, the last 19 years, probably the last 10 on my own, in my own little bubble of Matt Plapp world, creating my digital marketing firm, I didn't have a whole lot of people to reach out to. And there's days where it was tough. Yeah. The days you're grinding for 10, 12 hours, meeting after meeting, sometimes getting beat up, sometimes having bad days. And getting a phone call like that does make a difference. I've got a couple clients in particular. One of them, whenever I see him, he's like, hey, Matt, I want to let you know I appreciate everything you do. His name's Jim Mills. He's worked with Quaker Steak and Lube in Cincinnati for a while. He's continuously, over the years, told me, I appreciate everything you do. He's made phone calls to tell me that. And it goes a long way.
It really does, and it's funny. I was I sort of live by a couple different mantras. Number one is to facilitate and celebrate the success of others. It's just something I do and I focus on. The other thing is I believe in being a mentor and having a mentor, no matter what. And so there's a young woman who I've spent some time talking to recently, and we were talking about different ideas, how to go about finding people to help you figure out, hey, I want to I want to explore, financial services. I want to explore technology. And one of the most effective ways, just as another quick tip, is to literally get on your LinkedIn, find those companies, spend that time, do that homework, find those things that you're passionate about, find those things that you're good at, and then reach out to those people. Again, offer to take them out to lunch, take them for coffee. You want to pick their brain. I think if you endear yourself to these folks, they're going to want to help. And remember to follow up, because they are busy and they don't always return that first call or that first text or email. But if you stick with it, you're definitely going to get a pretty good hit on reaching out to those folks. So I thought I'd go with 2 tips.
There's 2. That's funny because my dad did 2 in the first episode. So maybe we ought to have a parting 2 tips. So
there you go.
That's all we've got. Wrapping it up here. I'm Matt Plapp. This is Markell Blount. And because you know Matt Plapp, you now know Markell. And I encourage you, reach out to him on LinkedIn, hook up with him. The guy's a mover and a shaker. He knows how to connect people. And he will definitely help you take your business to the next level. Who do you know?
I know Matt Plapp.
There you go. See ya.